Hi, everyone. This is our companion PassionPod that goes along with Black Dagger Brotherhood. So if you have not watched, do not listen to this podcast. There are a lot of spoilers. Go watch the episode, then come back and hear me and J.R. Ward talk about it. Hello, I am Tosca Musk, and I'm the CEO and founder of PassionFlix and also the director of the Black Dagger Brotherhood. And I'm here with J.R. Ward, and we are discussing the season finale of season 1 of the Black Dagger Brotherhood. So, what do you think?
I fucking love it. I think that the end had to... So it reminds me a little bit about Star Wars. Okay. So the very first one that came out 850 million years ago. Right. And there's that moment at the end when you see all of the characters together and you know they're safe and they're triumphant. And I thought the dining room scene when she's sitting on his lap and we see all of the brothers together, it's like a parallel universe for all of the commitment that PassionFlix, the actors, the crew, the set designers, you, me, this was so many people were involved in this at so many different levels. And then I looked at all of those. I looked at the Brotherhood and Beth and Wrath sitting around that table, and then Fritz comes in and says, "Peaches, anyone?"
Got to circle back.
Yeah, in that scene, because I had been through script development with you, casting, costuming. Actually, when you were shooting, post-production, the whole thing, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it represented to me, like not just that particular 50 minutes or whatever, and not the 6 episodes. This is 2 years of work for you and I.
Yeah.
Like when you told me you were shooting for how many days did you shoot?
45.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. And I actually came to set like halfway through. Mm-hmm. And which reminds me of one of the funniest things. Like this to me, like similar to that Passion Con moment when I got confused and flipped myself backwards onto the table, and your first was don't spill the drinks, and you're like taking care. Like there was this moment when I had never been on set before, mm-hmm. right? And I got to sit next to you, which was like such an honor. I had a chair with my name on it. I was like, oh, I feel very important. So I got to sit next to you and stuff. And I don't know what scene it was, but it was happening and it was great. And it was in the other room. And so we were in the little village thing. Mm-hmm. And you and I was like, oh my God. And you were like, shh, shh, stop, and I remembered so many moments as I was watching that last scene of working with you, working with PassionFlix, working with everyone. So it was a great moment for me to just know that it had come to the finish line as such a great product made by great people. We had a lot of fun making it, and it couldn't have been a better experience for me. And I think that the readers that I've heard from, who've been watching, the first 5 episodes, the support that we received, the excitement, people are just thrilled with everyone. And everything, it couldn't have been any better.
It has been an incredible response. Yeah. So I'm so happy about that. And I'm so glad. It was super fun having you on set. And obviously I look forward to you being with us on season 2.
I'm so there. But now I realized, I was like, so my best friend was like, okay, when the director yells cut, then you can be like,
make all the noise you want. Yeah. Before then, you don't say anything.
No. I was like, oh God, I fucked it up. She's going to fire me. No, but I'm super excited to see what we do with season 2. I thought that, can we talk about more than just episode? Can I reference a couple of other episodes?
Yes.
One of the things that I thought came out so well was Alex's portrayal of Rage.
He was great.
He was so spectacular. He was cracking people up. Yeah. And he has that like jokey, kind of like sassy kind of thing. And I think he's gonna do so well. Yeah. In the next season. And
well, we're gonna you and I are gonna have to chat about some of the lines that Rage has, because we have Rage now as with his Australian accent.
Yeah, right.
And Australians don't say some of the same things that Rage. So Alex sometimes he's like, so do I say howdy? Yeehaw.
Yeah.
How do I say yeehaw? Yeehaw!
Motherfucker! Yeah.
It was was just so funny. He was like practicing all the yee-haws. He's like, because Australians wouldn't say yee-haw.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, it's going to be yee-haw. You're going to make it work.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
So one of my favorite, episode 6 has one of my favorite scenes in it.
Yeah.
And it is the moment when Wrath is arriving. So Billy Riddle and Mr. X have her. And all of a sudden, and you pan, and there's all these things vibrating on this table, and Mr. X says something, I'm paraphrasing.
Get ready, Mr. R.
Mr. R. And then all of a sudden you blew up a door, which was awesome. Yeah. And then there he is. Yeah. There's our Wrath. There's our hero. Yeah. And the other thing that I loved was when Vicious arrives. So it was important to me when I wrote the book that we not do this damsel in distress bullshit. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, I didn't want Beth to come across as powerless, completely powerless. Like you're not just going to be rescued and carried off like the perils of Pauline. And one of my favorite scenes in the book and also in the series is when she's protecting Wrath. She's standing over ready to protect him. And then they're like, okay, hold on. Like, and I just thought that was such a great moment because that was among the scenes that I was excited to see. Yeah. Was what you did with it was that one.
Yeah. It was so important for her. So we had to get like two things done. Firstly, you're protecting him, but also you also need them to come and save him. Yes. And so it was like, I'm protecting. Yeah. And then, oh, okay, I see who you are. Because you can only imagine in that state of panic when you've been attacked by so many people and a dog, and she just killed a dog, which was pretty traumatic. But and then suddenly somebody else comes, and so you just have to stand there and protect. And I thought she did a really good job, and was very animalistic as well, which I think was really in character again for this world of vampires that occasionally have these sort of animalistic.
But I also thought that, like, if you think about like the devotion that the brothers give to Wrath when they see her protecting him, I think it's a way of that's another example. It's all, this whole series is about her entering the world. Yeah. And it's just another entryway and another way for them to fall in love with her.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, again, there's so much just when you think about that. I was like, yeah, there is. And especially when Zadist says we protect our own. Yeah. I love that. A nice little moment also with Beth and Z. Yeah. In the hospital where it actually, every time they did it, I'm like, just thinking about it, a little shiver, and it just almost like brings a tear to my eye. They did such a beautiful job just having that little moment where,
because it was important to me at the end of that the reader knew that Beth was okay with Zadist. Yeah. And Zadist was okay with her because I knew he was going to be a hero. Yeah. And he's actually my favorite one of any.
It's so great.
And I think that Andrew's portrayal of him is really great.
Yeah, another person, just actors so dedicated to this role. I mean, dedicated and so excited and thrilled that we love him, which is great because we do.
We do love him. We totally love him.
Yeah, I'm excited about working with him on season 3. Yeah. That'd be good. Well, even next season.
Next season we're going to meet
Bella and that whole...
Okay. I want to be on the Passion podcast when that thing happens that has been haunting me for now 20 years. Anyway, I thought that...
the thing. I mean, there's so many things in season 2.
Well, you can also bleep this out when...
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I know. I thought you were talking about... How the hell am I going to do that?
Yeah. No. Oh, God. I want to be on PassionPod for that one because I want to apologize, even though it's not my fault, to the readers. But anyway, the wrap up of the series, the pacing was so interesting for me. And that when she is at his bedside in the hospital, and as you show time passing and stuff, like, you don't want it to be soap opera-y. You don't want it to be like, no offense to General Hospital fans or whatever. And it didn't come across that way to me at all. Yeah. And your choice of music.
Thank you. I thought it was a little different.
It was different. Yeah. And I wasn't sure I liked it at first.
And then I was like,
And I was like, no,
all of us questioned it. A lot of people questioned it. Yeah. And then, but Margie Goodspeed, who is head of creative post-production, worked with Mike Carpenter, who's our director of music. And Mike found that song and he thought it would work really well in that scene. And then Margie, who just knows so much about music, she's very, she just has the skill to know what music will move you in the right emotional direction.
Right.
And so she put it in there. I was like, yeah, it works. It's unusual for this type of show, but it worked really well. But let's go back to the very beginning. So this episode starts off with our wedding night.
It's true.
Wedding night, lovemaking.
It's true. It's true.
Now it's really lovemaking as opposed to sex.
Yeah.
Now we're like,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Love, all the making. And then Torment knocks on the door.
Yeah.
And we learn of a threat from Zadist. So we think that Zadist is a bad guy. And we've had that threat sort of threaded through the entire season. And then, but one of the moments that I actually liked the most in that scene with Torment, who was with us at the very beginning with Darius, when we found out Wrath tells him that he's going to ascend the throne. Yeah. And how Torment just, you could tell the relief and the joy and this, he was just honored and happy to be told that Wrath was going to ascend the throne. I thought he did a really beautiful job. And it was such a lovely moment in that scene.
And I think that like in that moment, so you're not going to show obviously all of the civilian vampires and all of the aristocracy and what this means. And so in that moment, Joel carries the weight of the larger world and how they're going to respond to what Wrath's doing. And that's part of the love story, is that Beth and what she brings to his life is what helps him do the thing that he really has to do.
Yeah.
And I thought that in that regard, all the way back to the beginning, he does for her the thing he must do for her. And I just think it's a wonderful way it all circled around. And I remember watching the 6th episode and going, oh my God, it all worked out. Look at all. Oh, shit.
It all works out until Beth decides to go and eat a sandwich.
Yeah. Right. Oh, jeez.
And then not so much.
So then there was that moment, and I did think there, way back in the beginning after, well, not in the middle actually, when she transitions and she goes, oh, cool. And then when she goes and she touches the sun, when she gets the daylight on her and she doesn't burn up, like you get a sense of the distance she's traveled, and then Mr. X shows up.
Mr. X.
And by the way, he was supposed to be in one of those creepy municipal kind of like whatever. And
he was.
And he was.
Yeah.
And he's so creepy. He
with
does
his
creepy,
clipboard.
His little creep. I just...
Yeah. And we had to, and that's one of those scenes where we actually, once again, we had to add in a line. We added in, he's not alive.
Yeah.
From Beth, so that we could understand, basically that our vampires have a sense when it comes to these lessers, that they can sense them. And she would not have had that as a human. And like Butch had an icky feeling about him, but didn't have that sense. And so, but as soon as she's a vampire, she knows exactly who he is.
Yeah.
And then he's so excited. He's like, yay, I got the queen. And then takes her off. And it's very interesting how we come full circle again for Billy Riddle to be there.
Yeah.
And so the same person that attacked her at the very first episode, the very beginning, is now here.
Can I talk a little bit about how weird it was to write about that?
Yeah.
So I have this rule. I do what my Rice Krispies tell me. And Billy Riddle shows up in the first episode and attacks her. And I had to write the scene because I thought, okay, well, this is to show how dangerous Caldwell is. Or like this is supposed to set the tone that she needs to. I'm like, all right, this is what happens. But I'm like, I did not know that he was going to be the one. And it wasn't until all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. So now he's showing up at this dojo with, and I was like, oh. And so my Rice Krispies do this to me every once in a while. They'll feed something and I'll be like, oh shit, that's what happened. And then Billy Riddle's at the end.
So you didn't know when you were writing that scene that this was, that he was the thread?
No, so like these books have to be outlined really specifically. Yeah. And so when I started it, I didn't know where it was going to end up.
Wow.
But my Rice Krispies don't let us down.
Well, and what's great because he gets such a good, you're dead.
Yeah. You're real dead.
You're real dead.
But now you're real dead.
Yeah. So in the book, you've written that Wrath has this sort of kinetic energy, that he has this ice and kinetic energy. Yes. And I was like, oh God, how am I going to portray this?
Because that was a big discussion that we had when we were doing the script for the... It's like, how were you going to portray that if he can't can't get up there at all.
Yeah. So he could smell through the
Right.
vent,
Yeah.
he could hear, and but he can run really fast, but he can't go anywhere near the sun. So the only thing that could prevent him from going there is the drawn curtain that Beth opened.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create this world where I was like, okay, so he puts his hand on the wall, and then the icicles start forming, and this whole room turns into ice. But then when he goes to the barn, in the book you write it, and you're like, there's like this loud roar and things. You actually, I think it even says that the bullets on the table start shaking, dust comes from the ceiling, and then the doors explode. And I was like, I will get every single one of those things.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was cold enough as well for there's little tufts of air. You can almost see the air because it was so cold when we filmed it. So it actually came from the actors. But I really wanted to make sure that we got every single one of those. And we used, for that scene, we actually used a robotic arm, very similar to what we used in the first episode. So if you remember the first episode, we had the lesser come behind Wrath for the first time and shoot that bullet, and then the bullet comes.
Which,
here
by the way, we should have talked about how fabulous that was.
It was a really good call.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
So the bullet comes. Comes here.
Yeah.
All of that is visual effects, right? So none of it actually happened because we can't shoot the back of the actor's head. It's weird. Yeah. And so he's doing it, and then he turns and he throws that throwing star.
Yes.
So that whole thing. That camera moves so fast. It literally it stays in front of Wrath. So it does this, and then it goes, and that's it. And that's how fast it is because it has to move basically. But it goes super slow motion, but it's so fast. And the same thing that we used the same thing for the exploding doors because we want to get this movement going back and forward like this with the doors exploding all in slow motion because when things explode, it's very fast. It's not slow motion. And so that was so cool to be able to use that. Of course, because it's a very fast-moving camera, you can't have anyone around it. So everyone actually leaves the room. The camera does this, and then we insert everybody in.
Oh, that's so
I know. It was a very cool filming experience. But anyway, I love that scene. It was one of the first things that we shot, and I just loved it. I got so excited. Yeah. So excited to blow up a door and blow up cars. So thank you so much. All the things that I normally get to do making romance novels into movies and series. I don't really get to blow up many things, but now I do. Now I do. So that was great. And then of course we have that whole moment with Havers. Yeah,
Havers.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that I forgot to mention to you that he wore tortoiseshell glasses. Do you remember that? You were about to start shooting, and I was carpet bombing you with off of Amazon glasses that will work, and someone had a pair of glasses.
Yeah, someone did. Probably the actor.
Yeah, it might have been the actor himself.
Helen,
But that was poor Havers.
Poor Havers.
I can't stand him.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will love the actor.
The actor's lovely.
But I really don't like that character.
He's a bit of a nasty blob.
And I thought that it was great, like at the end when Wrath forgives him.
Yeah.
And is basically like, look, I can understand you feel it. Your sister was, disrespected. So I think that shows Wrath's mercy, but he's no slump.
Shows that he is, exactly merciful. So, but strict. So one of the things that we do have to talk about, and some of you folks, I really hope that you made it, past the 30 seconds of credits.
So here's the thing: I had forgotten that I had forgotten, and so the last scene wraps up, and they start to run the credits. And I looked over at my best friend, when we first screened it, and I was like, "Oh my God, that was amazing!" We started talking about it.
And then you called me.
Yeah. And then we called you, and we're like, fangirling. And then Leo's like, wait, there's one more scene. And I was like, wait, what? And then I all of a sudden went in, and you saw the fade, and you saw it happen. That was such an incredibly beautiful scene.
It's beautiful.
And the way it looked visually.
Yeah.
With her and him together.
Yeah. And Piotr, once again,
he was amazing.
Starting in episode 1 and then ending here in episode 6. So amazing. We actually, during that scene, we don't actually cut to the scribe virgin very much.
No.
We actually cut to her very few times, and we just stay on his face for a good portion of the scene. And you can just see all these emotions running
playing
through
over.
him and everything. Like, he doesn't ask a question. He remains silent. He's bursting.
Yeah.
And I mean, he just did such a phenomenal job, and it was just so heartbreaking.
It was really, and again, I think that like just shows his range.
Yeah.
That you can like feed into it, and then your decision to do it after the credits.
Yeah.
Which is great. I thought that was awesome.
It's the epilogue.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I hope people stayed for that.
Yeah. Well, if not, you're going to go back now and you're going to watch that.
Yeah. Oh, because it's one of my favorite scenes.
It's really beautiful.
Oh, it was so beautiful. And I can remember you asking me, like, what does the fade look like? And
what does the bird look like?
What does the bird look like?
The bird that lands on her finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's birds, man.
But fucking birds.
Yeah. Birds and dragons. Thank you so much. More birds and dragons coming your way.
Coming your way. But yeah, no, I thought that was such a beautiful way, because then you're actually left in those last moments in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
So when you look back on the shooting, how does this compare with some of your other projects that you've done?
This one was particularly high stress. Gabriel's Inferno was probably the highest stress that I've had on any show prior to Black Dagger Brotherhood, because of the rabid fan base, right? So the fans really want to see this work come to life, and you've written it so clearly so that if I miss something on that page, they'll hate it. Yeah. Like, that's my constant fear. They're going to hate it because the bullets didn't rattle on the table or whatever it is. Right. So for me, it's the stress of not quite getting it perfect. I think because you and I worked so much on the scripts and so much preparing for it, and every time I'd be like, okay, we're ready to go. And I'm like, oh, actually, we're going to push a little bit more so that we can spend more time preparing, because movies and series are made in prep. The more time you have the prep, maybe it's something to do, like, it's similar to an outline of a book, but like, they're made in prep. They're made or broken in prep. So if you rush prep, or you rush the script, or you rush casting, or whatever it is, the movie will suffer, because once you start rolling, there is no stopping. So that's what happened on this one. And I think the difference with this one is that there were so many main characters.
Yeah.
There were so many storylines that we have to feed into, and things the little nuggets that we have to have in this season that show up in not necessarily even the next season, but in the season 3 or 4 or 5. This is what's going to happen in season 10. Yeah. And so, which we're doing all of them. So, so that was very important to me. And also just making sure that I was true to everything that you had in mind, like making sure. So that's why I would text you at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning and go, what is this? Is it tortoiseshell glasses or whatever it would have been? But it was like, it was very, very important to me that I was honoring your work exactly as you saw it.
Sequentially less nervous.
Oh, good.
Because like the attention to detail, because I was a little bit like, my instinct tends to be pretty good for people, and I knew that you were all in, but I just began to feel more and more comfortable. Like within like the first 48 hours of shooting, I'm like, this is going to be fine, because this woman is like throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it. And you were just so precise about everything. But then when I went and did the set visit, I was so overwhelmed by, oh my God, what your job really is like. And just the thousands of decisions and the repetitive nature. There is a physical nature to it, to withstanding that shooting schedule, to being there. I mean, like, I was good for about 5 or 6 hours, then I had to go take a nap, and you were everyone was going right through.
Yeah, our days are generally about 14 hours long.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, which was pretty crazy. And then, I once you finish shooting, the boys would all go and work out. So they would like go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning or some 4 o'clock in the morning. And I have a ritual where I have to have a glass of wine and work on a puzzle just for 15 minutes.
Just to shut your brain down.
Because I have to, it's almost meditative. So I have to like stop. Otherwise, I would just keep going. And
because that was one of the things that like being with you, and it's like bing, 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 question. And I was so, because like my work environment is very quiet, very calm, 11-hour days with my dogs. I have a high degree, in my household, unless it's an arterial bleed, if I'm working, you got to solve your own problems.
Yeah.
That's life. And your working environment is the absolute opposite of that. Meeting your crew and the staff at PassionFlix, I can tell you have handpicked these people, and they are, just Carlos was amazing to me.
He's wonderful.
As a leader. As I watched him quietly direct people, he was always calm, no matter what time of night it was, when things were, and he was, okay, friends.
Yeah.
Okay, friends. And there are lots of different ways to be a leader.
Yeah.
And I thought that, and you're the same way, the number of questions that would come up, and you were always calm. You were always welcoming. You were under, there was a time ticking element to it. So it wasn't let's just hang out and chat kind of thing. But I just loved how everyone was so collaborative and so open, and it was lovely.
It really was a wonderful team. And our DP, Olivia, she was also fantastic.
Is fabulous.
Yeah, really, really wonderful. So a really great team. The production design team did a fabulous job, really paying attention to all the details in the book.
I loved the design team.
They were so great. And they did so much. They built so much. And as we were going along, I'd be like, maybe we don't need to find that location. You can just build it.
Yeah.
Build it. So they built the laser tag in one day. They built that set. And it was a lot of transforming sets, because that laser tag was also the dive bar that Butch and Jose were in. We used that for so many different locations. And so it just kept flipping.
Yeah.
The art department did an amazing job. And you asked about this particular series. This is the biggest thing that I've ever done. It's the longest that we've ever done, 6.5 hours. And it was a spectacular experience. I certainly learned a lot. I know what I need to do for next season to make it maybe a little easier.
I've already done
maybe an extra 5 days.
Yeah. So I have best practices now for going through the scripts.
Yeah.
Now that we've done through 6 of them and stuff, and now I know what you're looking for, and now I can be more efficient. I also know that unless I have a manuscript due, I have to get that script back to you really quickly, because I can be such a rate limiter. And so I want to cut down my response time to 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. No, we are moving, because I felt really badly about that, because I understand now the trickle down effect.
Yeah. That's actually me right now working on the scripts for season 2. So I'll be sending them over to you soon.
I'm ready for the handoff. At the end, when Rage goes, well, I better just settle for quantity instead of quality. In that moment, it just sets up Rage is the next one. And at the end of each of the books, it was okay, here's going to be your next one. It's the clue for who's coming next.
I know. I loved it.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. And I'm super excited because, I'm, season two, we meet John Matthew, we meet Bella, we meet Mary. There are so many incredible characters that we meet in season 2.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. But in order for you to make it season 2, you have to watch season 1.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched season 1, go rewatch, watch it again.
Yep. And I have to say, it has been a rare privilege to work with someone like you, who's just so, because you want to match energy. Okay. And I'm a dumpster fire. Okay. And so you're not matching that energy.
You said I'm your straight man.
You're my straight man. It's perfect. It's perfect. But also just the commitment that you've shown, and you're just, passionate and lovely and smart and fun. And I've just enjoyed this. This, 2 years ago when you and I first talked over that Zoom call, and then, after all this time, this is so much, it's gone so much better than I could have ever. And not just because I'm usually I'm usually a doomsday person. I always am waiting. I'm always prepared for the worst thing. But I knew, because this is such a beloved series and it's ongoing, that I wanted a special partner. And I feel like I got that.
Yeah. And I got that with you. And I thank you so much for that. I truly love having gotten to know you.
Yeah,
the last
me too.
2.5 years, 3 years of big
Oh my God.
Derby, hanging at your
Absolutely.
house, getting to know your family,
God.
your mom,
Chicken salad.
There it is. So good. But I'm thinking you've been so welcoming, and your family's been so welcoming, and it's just been a real blessing.
It really has.
Knowing you, and it's so it's so much fun too. So every time we get together or get to speak, I'm like, well, I'm going to see J.R. Ward, so I guess I'll just be busy for the next few hours because we're going to be chatting for hours. So
absolutely.
No, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for trusting us and trusting me, and
let's do it
really
again.
Fabulous. Let's do it again. Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks. High five.